This is my teacher input form that can be used by a speech language pathologist or a special education teacher. It collects information regarding a student categorized by the teacher name. So this is helpful when the student has multiple teachers, such as a resource room English teacher, a gen ed teacher, specials teacher. It lists the student's strengths. It goes down and asks various questions such as, does the student understand the content? Frequently, often, sometimes, or rarely. And the teacher will just go through and check what is applicable to their student. These are just basic language areas from the ASHA guidelines. The next section indicates if there is a significant problem with any of the following areas, such as attention, the student giving up quickly or getting frustrated, difficulty with multi-step directions. The next section is for the accommodations, such as preferential seating. Does the student require modified tests? Do they need the directions simplified or repeated? Then it goes through reading. Is the student above grade level, on grade level, nearing, or significantly below grade level? And if they're on grade level, they'll skip this next part. This is only if reading is a concern, and if it is, we are going to have the teachers identify which area is most difficult. Here's writing. We're going to say the student is on grade level. For math, we're going to say the student is nearing grade level but requires some support, and they struggle with understanding vocabulary and story problems. The next section asks if the teacher has any academic concerns regarding their placement or future planning, such as, do we think the student needs to be monitored closely? Do we think that they would be better suited in a resource room environment versus a gen ed classroom? Next, it asks if the student has participated in reading or math intervention, and then it also asks for any classroom or district-wide assessment data that may be helpful in the IEP process. And then once this is submitted, the SLP or the special education teacher will be able to access it from their side of the Google form. Here are the questions if you'd like to edit any of the questions or the wording or add any other options. Under responses, you can see a summary of all of the submissions for each of the students. So when I do this, I have a different Google form for each student. So as you can see, there are 3 responses, and they all have been completed for the student Sam. It says the SLP, math teacher, and resource room English teacher have all completed this form. It lists the student's strengths, and then it asks each of the questions, and you can kind of get an idea of the performance tally there, as well as here. It says 3 of the teachers rated the student having difficulty with attention and staying on task, and all the data graphs in the charts. Right here, it notes that 3 responses were submitted in regards to the reading performance, and 2 out of the 3 people said the student was on grade level. Same for writing. 2 out of the 3 said the student was on level for writing. However, it looks like all 3 of the people that completed the form said that the student was nearing grade level for their math performance. And here are the areas of concern. 1 person stated the student had difficulty with their math facts. All 3 people that completed the form stated the student had difficulty with understanding vocabulary, and 2 people stated that story problems were difficult. This right here lists whether or not the teachers believe the student is in the right placement, or if they need to be monitored closely, or if they are ready to graduate to the gen ed classroom. And also on the top of the response button, you can click this green little button here, and it will take all of the data and put it into a Google Sheet to be organized for future reference. It does timestamp the information, so we'll have the date and the time the form was completed, as well as the student name and all of the teachers that completed this form about the student. And it kind of organizes all the information in a nice little sheet so that we can get a better understanding of the student's strengths and weaknesses and what they need to help guide us in writing our IEP and knowing what supports that we need to put in place